All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back once again to the channel. This is Rob at Smirking Gun Reviews, and we're back with more Orphan Black Season 1. We are doing Episode 2. It is called Instinct, and full spoilers if you have not seen the episode, because we'll be ruining everything. Another great episode, starting right off where the first episode ended. I think it's just crazy if you think about it already. In one episode, she's seen one person that looks like her kill herself, and another one gets her head blown off. That is just. If you weren't crazy before, man, you'd be thinking you're crazy afterwards. So yeah, she's on the phone with another one of her versions of herself. I mean, I guess she's assuming it could be anybody, but I mean, I also hope she's thinking it's somebody else, pretty quickly. And they all have this information that she just doesn't know. And so I just love the confusion of it all. That everybody else, the people that she's talking to, they know all about, what's going on, or at least part of it. And they don't know that she's Sarah. And I do want to apologize for the first episode review, because I got so into her pretending to be Beth that I started just calling her Beth instead of Sarah. It's kind of hard already to start differentiating the different characters already, because she does such a great job at being what she needs to be in this show. And how much fun. I mean, because we've already seen, 3 versions, and now, you've got Sarah, you've got Beth, you've got Katya, right? That's the German. Now you got whoever she's talking to on the phone, that's 4. So just nuts. So they tell her to get rid of the body, which, I mean, she gets the shovel and she has to bury herself. So now she's seen a suicide, she's seen a murder, and now she has to bury herself. Like 3 just terrible versions of that's nightmare fuel right there. All the while she's doing all that, Vic and Felix are having their memorial party for her, where Vic is still just wallowing in his misery of his mistreatment, I guess, and how he's feeling terrible over her suicide, but he is already starting to draw the conclusion, that this isn't her, that she wouldn't have done this. And it's kind of the same reaction that Mrs. S has a little bit later, that, come on, she's not that type of person. So, but then at the same time, people are saying that, the voice on the other end, when she finally tells this Allison version that she died, she killed herself, again, they're like, she wouldn't do that. So, I mean, kind of across the board, it seems like the different personalities of this one person, the different versions of this one person, kind of wouldn't kill themselves, but we haven't met all the different versions yet. So Felix finally kicks Vic out at the same time, after Sarah has hosed down the car and replaced the car windows and cleaned herself off mostly. She's back at Felix's, and this is where, again, the phone rings. They're talking about the briefcase again, and her just kind of winding them up, trying to keep the hustle going, which, I don't know, man. I know she wants her daughter back, but this is getting pretty far out of hand already. Plus, she finds out that the money is gone, which, yes, I was right about that. There was no way that guy was going to leave that money in there. He did leave his card. And so she has to convince, her partner that she's squared up. She knows how to clear this case, but we don't know why he's so fucking up her ass about it, other than just concern. And after she does some studying, well, first she goes home and has to tell Paul, has to deal with Paul. Now, she just needs to figure out how to get rid of Paul, and that's kind of what happens here. is because her changes that he notices is too much for him, and so he says he's gonna like go stay at a friend's house, which she is way too quick to be like, oh yeah, go. I mean, she pulls back right away, but once you kind of open up that door, she's like, yeah, do it. And then goes, oh, well, if you want. But, I like that she's, she's still kind of herself, forgetting that she's herself and not Beth at times. Because, yes, when you want somebody gone, your initial reaction is, yeah, go. But that's not how Beth would be. So she has to pull back and be like, if you want. This is also where she starts practicing her stories. She starts doing the research on the case that she needs to do, which shows Sarah's, resourcefulness. Again, like I said, she, in the first episode, how quick she was to be able to look around at her surroundings and learn and remember things that she needs to know. She would have been a good cop in real life, if you think about it. Pretty good detective work. She convinces him... she convinces Art eventually that, she knows how to pull off, getting this case cleared. But again, this guy's like, I'm going to hold on to the money, and everything. Speaking of this guy, Art, he's on The Expanse, too. He was in the last episode I just watched, the Inspector Semitibi, the one they call Semi. So this guy gets around. And so she then... ends up going to the hotel that the German was staying at, so that she could get the briefcase that this other version of her wants. And in the meantime, Felix has to go to Mrs. S's house to make sure that Kira doesn't think she's dead. Here's my thing about this part of the story. With everything that I can tell is going to go on in this show, it's kind of unfortunate that they're throwing in the she has a kid storyline. Now, before anybody gets all weird about why I'm saying this, it's just the kid storyline, like, I'm doing this for my kids so we can get away. Okay, if this is a TV show, and they want it to go on for a certain amount of years, okay, so that means that the I'm going to get my kid back storyline is just going to be something kind of dragging the story down. Because she's always going to be like, I have to do it for my kid. Like every fucking episode. I got to do it for Kira. I got to do it for Kira. I got to do it for Kira. And in the end, even if she gets her kid back, in the world that she's in and the danger that she's in, is the kid even really better off with her mother? And I know like right now it's early in the show, and so she thinks she can do these things, and she doesn't know where it's going to lead. But at some point, I mean, I think the people that make shows, okay, not just this show, should know that storylines like this are really just, anchors around the neck of the character, just dragging them down. Not really, moving forward. They're always going to have this crutch that they're trying to get to. And even when it's like the Wile E. Coyote catching the Roadrunner, where once you catch it, you don't know what to do with it when you get it. So like even if she gets her kid, what's she gonna do? Because the story still has to keep going. And so unless that's the end, and if that is the end, like her getting her daughter back, I don't know. It's just kind of a been there, done that, boring, like, I don't know. But that's just a minor gripe that I'm talking about probably way too much. Because she's got a cute kid. And Mrs. S apparently is the foster mother of Felix and Sarah. And, they have a history and everything else. And for all her talking, she'd do it all over again. I do think, though, that Mrs. S has a point. That Sarah shouldn't be able to have Kira until she's ready. And that's what, Kira has learned. Is that she'll be back when Mrs. S says she's ready. And I just think that hopefully they just keep the kid with Mrs. S for a good, long while, even if the whole show, so maybe we can just forget about that plot line for a while, because seriously, every episode is just going to be, I have to get Kira back. That's going to get old real fast. So Sarah gets to the hotel. She dresses up a little bit like the German. She just kind of does some German accents, just has sunglasses and a hat and everything. And like just kind of doing an accent. This is where she finds out that the room is trashed. The people from the hotel are questioning her about the trashing of the room and rock and roll, man. Like it's whatever. But she gets the briefcase. She finds out that the credit card's good and all this stuff. And in the briefcase that she decides to take out of the car and open in the middle of the rain. Now, I know the way they shoot it in certain angles, it doesn't look like the rain's coming down, but when they do the close-ups, the rain is coming down. Okay? They didn't do a really good job of hiding the rain. And why would you pull that out of the car? Like, why couldn't she have just done that in the car? Couldn't they have framed it in a way, like even if she just looks at it on the seat next to her? And opened up the briefcase and all that stuff. Like, if she needed to open up the briefcase outside the car, and then she just put it back, because it just doesn't make sense to have all that stuff getting wet. And if we are supposed to buy that it's not raining, maybe hide the rain a little bit better. Again, small gripes. But this is where she finds Allison's address. This is where she doesn't tell them that Beth is dead, but that, she's not Beth. She's not who they think she is. And they, immediately just kind of hang up on her. But since in the briefcase it's got Allison's address, she's able to stake her out, which is poor Felix is just getting dragged around everywhere in this episode. This is where she follows our soccer mom version of herself, who is very uptight, as like, the typical, the stereotypical soccer mom, the kind of control freak a little bit. And now people are going to be like, oh, soccer moms are all control freaks, huh? I'm saying the stereotypical version of it, okay? The one that they like to show on shows and movies. The one with her thumb up, the stick up her ass all the time. It's just all, this is my suburban happy life, don't fuck with it, version. I do like how she's just kind of waving the knife around and just kind of like not really realizing, how dangerous her actions and moves are, and how much she just wants to protect her life and how this is not her fault. But really, it's like, at some point, bitch, you're going to have to realize that you're a clone or whatever, and, it doesn't matter if you want to be in it or not. You're in it because you were made to, like, this is just your lot in life. And I get she wants to protect her family. But yeah, she tells, Sarah, you're going to have to wait for a phone call. This is not how it works. You don't know what you're doing. Sarah calls her a bitch, which I would have called her a cunt. But that's just, sorry. Maybe it's because it's television. And then, so yeah, she has to wait for the phone call and she ends up going to the house. Actually, I think this is where Felix got dragged around, not the other way around, not the first time. This is the time Felix went with. And this is where, again, she goes into the house, and this Allison is just she's got this big-ass 357, man, just like, and she holds it like it's like she's holding like a spoon or, just some useless thing. She doesn't know that she could just blow her own head off, just waving it around. And then we meet so this is, let's see, we've seen Sarah, Beth, Katya, Allison, and now this is our fifth one, Kasumi, who looks like kind of a flower child, techie type of girl who's kind of got a more relaxed stance. And so that's pretty much where the episode ends. It's, again, this is just, we're building the world, right? So, and we're building this conspiracy of what's going on, that somebody wants all these clones dead. We don't know who, but we've got 5 seasons, right, to find out how this all goes. And since this is just the beginning, I don't even want to try to imagine where it ends up being by the end of it. So this is a really good episode. I can't wait to see what happens next. Probably have another one of these up in the next day or so. So we'll be at episode 3. And so if you like this video, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Hit the bell for notifications on all the videos that I put up. And we will see you on the next one. Have a great night. See ya.